Alright everyone, pull up a chair because we start today with some very sad and somber news, which has now, in a turn of events that is as predictable as it is disgusting, been hijacked by the endless, toxic drama of Prince Harry. The Duchess of Kent, a cousin of our late great Queen Elizabeth and the wife of the Duke of Kent, has sadly passed away at the age of 92. As you can see from the pictures, the flag outside Buckingham Palace has been lowered to half-mast, and the royal family has now entered a period of official mourning, a time for quiet dignity, for family unity, and for respectful reflection. But of course, where there is dignity and tradition, the Sussexes are never far behind, ready to inject their signature brand of chaos, of drama, and of shameless self-obsession into the proceedings. Because Prince Harry, from his mansion in California, is reportedly fuming, visibly enraged, after his condolence email to the grieving Duke of Kent was allegedly ignored. He has managed, with a level of narcissistic audacity that almost defies belief, to make a beloved royal's death and her family's profound grief all about him. Now, I know you guys are excited for more, but before we delve into further discussion, if you haven't subscribed, come on guys, what are you waiting for? Hit like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell ASAP. So now, before we get into the weeds of Harry's pathetic and disrespectful tantrum, let's just take a moment to remember the woman at the heart of this, the Duchess of Kent. She was a figure of real empathy and genuine tenderness. Many of us will remember that incredible, unforgettable moment at Wimbledon back in 1993, when the losing finalist, Jana Novotná, was in floods of tears, and the Duchess, instead of just a polite handshake, reached out and hugged her, comforted her. It was a moment of pure, unscripted human connection, and it showed the kind of woman she was. She herself had a difficult life in many ways. She suffered from depression. She endured the unimaginable tragedy of a stillborn baby. She was a woman of real substance, of quiet dignity, and of profound empathy, and that is how she should be remembered, not as a footnote in her nephew's latest public meltdown. So in the midst of this family's private grief, what does Harry do? He fires off a condolence email from across the Atlantic, and when he doesn't get an immediate, personal, fawning reply from the 89-year-old grieving widower, the Duke of Kent, a man who has just lost his wife of over 60 years, what does he do? Does he understand that the man is grieving? Does he show a shred of empathy or respect? Of course not. He reportedly has a complete and utter meltdown. He is visibly enraged, he is livid, he feels disrespected. Can you even begin to imagine the level of pathological narcissism it takes to make a man's profound grief for his wife of more than 6 decades all about your own petty, pathetic, hurt feelings? It is a staggering and deeply disturbing insight into his character. The Duke of Kent, as royal commentators have rightly pointed out, is known for his reserved, traditional, and deeply dignified nature. He is a man of a different generation, a man who is now observing a period of the most profound and personal mourning. Of course, he is not sitting there checking his emails and firing off replies to his traitorous, fame-hungry nephew in California. But Harry, with his Californian therapy speak and his obsessive need for constant validation, is apparently incapable of comprehending this. He doesn't see a grieving man. He sees a personal slight. He sees it as a deliberate dismissal of his gesture. And this is a pattern, isn't it? It is a pattern of entitlement and an obsession with recognition that has followed Harry for years. The constant public outrage over these perceived slights, the high-profile disputes, the media interviews where he airs all of his grievances. He has to turn every private matter into a public spectacle because he is addicted to the spotlight. He is addicted to being the center of the story. This isn't about him sharing in the family's grief. This is about him trying to insert himself into the narrative and being furious when the family, quite rightly, ignores him, and the public sees it. While some of his deluded fans in the Sussex squad might be trying to spin this as another example of the cruel royal family snubbing poor Harry, most normal people with an ounce of common sense and decency see this for exactly what it is. A grown man throwing a tantrum because a grieving 89-year-old widower didn't reply to his email fast enough. It reinforces the narrative of him as an entitled, self-absorbed man-child. And you can just imagine the scene at the palace, can't you? The courtiers and the senior staff are reportedly shaking their heads in disbelief and frustration. They are questioning why a personal gesture of condolence would need to escalate into yet another public drama. One insider noted that Harry's complete inability to separate private communication from public narrative has created this unnecessary and deeply disrespectful friction, even among the royals who might otherwise have extended him some sympathy during this period of mourning. The man just doesn't know how to behave. He has lost all sense of decorum, of subtlety, of respect. And although Meghan Markle is not directly involved in this particular episode, you can see her manipulative influence all over it. This heightened sensitivity, this instant pivot to victimhood, this paranoid belief that every action or inaction is a calculated slight against them. That is pure, uncut Meghan Markle. He has learned from the master of grievance. He has been so thoroughly brainwashed that he now sees the world through her distorted, self-obsessed lens. So the Duke of Kent's silence is not a snub. It is a reflection of centuries of royal tradition, and it is a reflection of a man's profound and private grief. It is Harry's reaction that is the scandal. He has taken a moment of national sadness, a moment of deep personal loss for the royal family, and he has made it all about his own pathetic, bruised ego. And in doing so, he has only isolated himself even further from the very family that he so desperately and so transparently claims he wants to reconcile with. It is a masterclass in self-destruction. This isn't just a single affront. It is a symbolic reminder of Harry's complete and utter detachment from the royal system and how his pathetic attempts to assert himself so often collide with centuries of tradition. Inside Buckingham Palace, staffers reportedly described the scene as chaotic. The courtiers, who are now so used to Harry's emotional intensity, were reportedly worried that this matter could spiral into another public confrontation or another social media storm. He doesn't just want acknowledgement, one insider revealed. He wants validation, and when it doesn't come, he reacts. And for a family that values composure, discretion, and continuity above all else, Harry's constant, exhausting, and emotionally incontinent response to everything is both frustrating and deeply, deeply tiring. The public opinion has only intensified. On one side, you have the tiny echo chamber of his fans, who are applauding his attempt to express grief. But on the other side, you have the vast majority of the public, the critics who are rightly arguing that his public fixation on these minor perceived slights makes him appear completely self-centered and breathtakingly entitled. Some commentators are going even further, saying that Harry's behavior illustrates a much wider and more profound disconnect. A man who was once prepared for a life of duty is now seemingly obsessed with his own image, with recognition, and with his endless, tedious personal grievances. The situation has just reverberated across every social media platform, sparking the most intense debates. But the narrative that is now being constructed, and it is a correct one, is that Harry is volatile and hypersensitive, completely unable to navigate the simple nuances of royal decorum, while still expecting all the privileges of royal acknowledgement. Memes, commentaries, and viral videos have already begun to circulate, turning a private correspondence or lack thereof into a global spectacle of his own making. This was a moment for quiet dignity, a moment for showing respect for a family's grief, a moment for honoring the memory of a woman who served the crown with grace for decades. Instead, Prince Harry has made it a global spectacle about his own hurt feelings. He has disrespected the memory of the Duchess of Kent, he has disrespected his grieving great-uncle, the Duke of Kent, and he has once again, in the most public way possible, shown the world his true, self-absorbed, and deeply unattractive colors. The silence from the Duke of Kent speaks louder than any words ever could. It is the sound of dignity. It is the sound of grief. And it is a sound that Prince Harry, it seems, is completely and utterly incapable of understanding. And for that, he should be truly, deeply ashamed of himself. What do you guys think of this whole insane situation? Is there any excuse for his behavior? Let me know everything you are thinking down in the comments. Let's really get into this because it is just mind-blowing. Until next time, take care. Ta-ta, and bye for now.